Hi everyone, welcome to WION World is One News. I'm Archit Deshadri. Thanks for joining us. Let's take a look at the top stories making headlines around the world. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses the nation on his 23rd radio program where he spoke about the unrest in the Jammu and Kashmir Valley. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif appoints 22 MPs as special envoys to lobby for Kashmiri's freedom. The Chief Minister of India's Jammu and Kashmir state, Mehbooba Mufti, accuses Pakistan for creating trouble in the valley. India's Finance Minister Arun Jaitley gives the SAARC conference in Islamabad a miss. Pakistan says it doesn't matter. Singapore reports 41 cases of locally transmitted Zika virus. Welcome everyone. Those stories in just a moment, but first we start in India, where India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke out about the prevailing unrest in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, he speaks to the entire nation every month, and in his radio address, Modi says that all political parties have spoken in with just one voice on the issue of Kashmir, and he says there's no need for unity because everybody already agrees with this situation. He said that any lives lost in Kashmir is a loss for the nation.
और हम सभी का मत है, 125 करोड़ देशवासियों का मत है, गांव के प्रधान से लेकर के प्रधानमंत्री तक का मत है कि कश्मीर में अगर कोई भी जान जाती है, चाहे वह किसी नौजवान की हो या किसी सुरक्षा कर्मी की हो, ये नुकसान हमारा ही है, अपनों का ही है, अपने देश का ही है.
Well, staying on the issue, Jammu and Kashmir's Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti slammed Pakistan and separatist leaders. She said this on Saturday for fueling all the unrest in her state. She met with India's Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi to talk about the situation in the Kashmir Valley. WION's Anis Zargar has the story.
Launching a scathing attack on Pakistan, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti accused certain elements in Pakistan of instigating violence in Kashmir. The Chief Minister also blamed Islamabad for creating trouble in the valley.
अभी पिछले दिनों में जबकि कश्मीर में इतने हालात खराब हुए और पाकिस्तान खुल के उन हालात को ठीक करने के बजाय उसमें कोशिश कर रहे थे ज्यादा प्रोवोकेशन हो, तो ऐसे में हमारे होम मिनिस्टर दोबारा पाकिस्तान चले गए सार्क का जो समिट है उसको अटेंड करने के लिए, पर बदकिस्मती से पाकिस्तान ने फिर एक सुनहरी मौका अपने हाथ से जाने दिया.
She further stated that Modi is keen to finding a solution to resolve the ongoing unrest in the valley. Violence erupted in Kashmir after the killing of Hizbul Mujahideen commander Burhan Wani on the 8th of July. At least 70 people have died and thousands injured in clashes with security forces. Pakistan's statements calling for freedom for Kashmiri people have only added to the tensions between the two South Asian neighbors.
A strict curfew has been put in place in and around Srinagar city against separatist call to march towards Badami Bagh cantonment area. Ahead of the call, Mirwais Umar Farooq has also been arrested and taken to an undisclosed location. Meanwhile, normal life remained disrupted as the ongoing civil unrest in Kashmir entered its 50th day.
Mufti said the long-term solution to the problem can only be achieved through dialogue with all stakeholders, which should include the separatist leaders. Bureau Report, WION.
Pakistan says India's decision to not send Finance Minister Arun Jaitley for the SAARC conference in Islamabad just simply does not matter. Pakistan's Minister for Finance, Ishaq Dar, says individuals don't really matter, but countries in fact do. His comments came after the conclusion of the 8th SAARC Finance Ministers Conference. Now, 4 out of the 8 member countries did not send their ministers, including Afghanistan, Bangladesh, the Maldives, and India. There also said that sending ministers to the conference was every country's internal decision. While staying in Pakistan, senior MQM leader Farooq Sattar has categorically disassociated himself from the party's founder, Altaf Hussain. Now this after Hussein's anti-Pakistan remarks resulted in authorities there demolishing the party's offices across the country. Speaking out at the press club in Karachi, Sattar said the party's policies and decisions are no longer linked to its offices in London, from where Hussain is known to operate. Pakistan has also charged the self-exiled leader in London with treason for his inflammatory speech. The MQM Supremo has apologized to the military for the anti-Pakistan remarks that he made earlier on. All right, moving on now. Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has appointed 22 parliamentarians as special envoys to highlight the issue in Kashmir to different parts of the world. Sharif's announcement comes just days after India says that it would engage in talks with Pakistan, but only if they end cross-border terrorism. Sharif made these remarks on the 50th day of unrest in the valley that broke out after the killing of Hizbul commander Burhan Wani. Now to news across Asia. Myanmar's President U Tin Chao visited Bodh Gaya in the eastern Indian state of Bihar on Saturday. The president and his wife offered prayers at the Buddhist shrine. This is at the Mahabodhi temple. There was a lot of tight security there, as you can imagine. Chao was accompanied by a high-level delegation with several key ministers and top officials. The Mahabodhi temple is believed to have been built about 1,500 years ago, and it's visited by millions of pilgrims and tourists every year. It was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site back in 2002. Chao is on a 4-day trip to India. He's expected to have a lot of extensive talks with India's Prime Minister, as well as a host of issues, including the 1,600-kilometer of the Indo-Myanmar border. Now to Singapore, where the country has confirmed at least 41 cases of locally transmitted Zika virus cases. Now they include 36 of them are foreign construction workers. Authorities have tested more than 100 people, most of them, again, construction workers. 78 so far testing negative, 5 still pending. The virus is carried by mosquitoes, was detected in Brazil last year. It has since spread from the Americas. The virus poses a major risk to many pregnant women because it can cause severe birth defects. So far, there's no vaccine or treatment available for Zika. Japan plans to invest $30 billion in Africa over the next 3 years. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe made the proposal at the Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Kenya. An investment of $10 billion will be made this year on infrastructure development. The focus will be on electrical power, urban transport systems, roads, and ports. Another $20 billion will be flown into Africa through investments from Japan's private sector. Almost 30 African heads of state are taking part in the conference, and nearly 70 agreements are expected to be signed. The conference has been jointly organized by the UN, the African Union, the World Bank, as well as Japan.
Your Excellencies.
Drug dealers in Yunnan province of southwest China are taking advantage of the upcoming Mid-Autumn Festival. Now they're trying to smuggle meth inside traditional Chinese mooncakes. The baked goods are a particularly popular delicacy, especially during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Police have already seized 6 kilograms of the drug from 2 young women who were arrested carrying them inside those cakes. The drugs were wrapped in plastic, carbon paper, and sealing bags. One of the women even confessed to smuggling the drugs from Myanmar in exchange for money. Further investigation is still underway. While out of West Asia, where suspected Kurdish militants have fired rockets at the airport in the southeastern city of Diyarbakir in Turkey. Now, 4 rockets were fired at a police checkpoint outside the airport's VIP lounge. Passengers and staff were immediately rushed to shelter. The city's governor said that there were no deaths so far or any disruption to the flights because of the attack. The strike comes days after Turkey launched a military attack on Syria that is hoping to drive out Islamic State militants. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro met with Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif on Saturday. The two leaders discussed strengthening bilateral ties in an effort to stabilize the global oil market. Here's the story.
Stabilizing oil markets topped the agenda as Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro met with visiting Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif in Caracas. Oil prices have remained weak since they tumbled in 2014. The Maduro government has been seeking the support of OPEC and non-OPEC nations to cut production.
Hemos conversado también sobre la OPEP.
I can say that we have very good news for the consensus of the stability of the market and the recovery of oil prices. We continue to build common ground and new consensus on stabilizing oil markets, strengthening industries, strengthening OPEC to strengthen the closeness and alliance with the production countries of OPEC.
Nuestra canciller seguir en las gestiones y anuncios en las próximas semanas.
Zarif's visit also resulted in the signing of a historic accord between the central banks of the two countries.
The accord between two central banks is the path to continue good relations. I'm sure with the accord signed tonight, we can increase and deepen our relations in a different field.
Ties between Iran and Venezuela have grown steadily over the past few years. After Zarif's latest visit, the two sides are now hailing the beginning of a new dynamic era in the bilateral relationship. What remains crucial, however, is whether the coming together of these two nations can put pressure on oil giant Saudi Arabia to cut oil production. Bureau Report, WION.
Much more stories ahead of this short break, including what's going on in Europe. Stay with WION.